You are in. Where's Huddle with me, Bram, and with me, per usual, my master of all things video and sound, Maxime,
How's it going?
and my boy and producer, MT.
What's up, Dub Nation?
Gentlemen, I am worried about asking this question. How are you? How does this podcast find you, boys?
Sad. Shocked.
Yeah. Anxious.
Yeah, this is a distraction episode, and so we'll turn our attention to basketball very quickly. We're in the wake of I don't know, I can't even use the phrase surprising presidential election, so I'll just keep it at this. A couple weeks ago, I lost a very close friend, and for the few days that followed, I had this weird, numb, empty feeling. I'm having that exact same weird, numb, fucking empty feeling right now. But like I said, distraction episode. So to basketball we turn. As we speak, the Warriors are playing the Boston Celtics. So we don't know the outcome of that game quite yet. We may drop some predictions for it. But we do know that the Warriors have recently beat the Rockets. They also beat the Wizards. So, gentlemen, let's jump into a glass half full. You'll recognize this. Look back, recent Warriors hoop. Give me something you like or don't. MT, start us off. What do you got?
I like that the back and forth between Jordan Poole and Draymond was competitive, and you could tell that, they will never be best friends. I don't think Draymond's getting invited to Jordan Poole's wedding anytime soon. But it stayed just there on the court, and you could tell that from Draymond's post-game comments that he still has a lot of respect for him. I mean, obviously it's a little easier since he was the one doing the punching. But, it was just I thought it was cool to see, it was a mature Draymond, which I think he deserves credit for what he was saying in his comments about it, about Jordan's growth there. And Jordan Poole was an integral part of us getting that championship. So now that it's a couple years removed, I'm okay with him having a little bit of success outside of any time he plays us.
This feels like the Draymond Green maturity tour, like stop one is Jordan Poole and they have a hug, although we didn't get the hug, but he says the nice things. The next thing will be whenever we see Gobert, and he somehow shakes his hand, maybe he'll make up with Nurkic, who knows, but it's been this ongoing thing. I also like Jordan Poole's return to competency. This year, he has quietly kind of gone and become the player that Washington at least had some visions of. He's probably not fulfilling the potential they wanted, but he's playing a lot better than he did last year. Here's a follow-up I hadn't planned. Do you think that Draymond Green and Jordan Poole will ever record a podcast together? Not this year, 100% not this year, but at some point, for as long as podcasts exist, do you think we will get some kind of an episode where they record? I'll answer my own question, then hear your guys' takes. It will require something giant on Jordan Poole's side. Right now, if Poole called Draymond right now, I was like, oh, I'm in, Draymond would hit the record button and no problems. But for Poole, I think one of two things would have to happen. Jordan would have to have some kind of incredible success, becomes an all-star, some huge thing that changes who he is, or some piece of unexpected news services that clarifies that Jordan Poole headbutted Draymond's fist. That it was he was somehow in control of that fight and would like to talk about it on a pod. Otherwise, I say no way.
I think it does happen. I agree. It might take something big, but I just think, as Jordan Poole gets older and, other things come into perspective, we've had those moments as we getting older, you reach out to friends and you talk to people and you're like, oh man, you just have a different outlook on life. So I could see that happening with Jordan Poole. Maybe he's like, yeah, it's actually my cousin who did the filming of it, and he reported it. And the reason you never found out is because I gave him a bunch of money to stay silent.
I like the idea of the camera flashing forward 50 years, and then Draymond calling Jordan Poole and is like, oh, let bygones be bygones, man. My bad. You want to record? And Jordan Poole's like, fuck no. Click.
Exactly.
I could see it actually to help Draymond's media career. right? Like as in this is the big thing that is when it happened. Everybody said, "Oh, this ruins his opportunities to be the Charles Barkley replacement on TNT," and you sort of see things going away from sort of more traditional media, and you see him backlashing against traditional media. I could see him saying under the table, "Hey, Jordan, I'll toss you like a bunch of like 30 grand to just come on and help me clear the air because it'll allow me to move forward with my post basketball playing career."
If Jordan Poole's economic situation is deteriorated to the point where the 30K is like, thank God you called me, Draymond.
Right.
It's like, I was just about to have to move out, but whatever you want to talk about, I'm on. I'll give a third thing that might change that analysis. If the person who leaked the video becomes public and is willing to join the podcast. And then like now all three of them are on there and they kind of talk about like how that go. By the way, if those three people are listening, if you need a host, dude, like I'm 100% on board. Something I like and related. Draymond Green's 3-point shooting. Gentlemen, we spent a long time talking about people don't shoot above 40% from three. And Marcus pulled up that stupid Kyle Korver stat of 53% that made me look like an asshole when I said like no one has ever done it before. Well, here's shocking fucking news. Draymond Green, as we sit here right now before Boston, is shooting 52.6% from three.
Jeez.
He is 0.4 away from the Kyle Korver number that I said was quote unquote impossible. So the backpack three, dude, I like it. I'm on board.
Yeah, same amount of attempts too, right?
Exactly the same. Yeah, it's weird. Actually, I think he may have taken a little bit more. You keep asking me follow-up questions like that. I'm not doing any more podcasts with you. You can fucking talk as well. Maxine, what do you got?
I guess let's continue talking about interesting trends for effective field goal percentages and look at the other end of the spectrum with Brandon Podziemski. And to be clear, this is actually something that I like, but we all know Brandon's been having a rough go of it from the field. He's something like 18% overall, 24% or something on twos. So not I don't know. You tell me. I'm no expert. However, credit to NBA University, I guess via PPP stats. I don't know. We're getting into some stuff. I hope this is actually real. Brandon Podziemski has the 8th most difficult shot quality in the league right now, behind DeMar, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. There's some big names on this list, which says to me essentially, part of this is because Steph is out and he's been asked to essentially create with no time left and figure it out as the point guard of the team when, usually he's used to Steph's spacing, being able to get him some more interesting looks. But it gives me a feeling of optimism that what we're seeing right now from Podziemski is not representative of who he's going to be as a shooter over the course of the season. And that's really great because we like everything else that he's doing. If he can shore up a lot of these kind of brutal looks that we've seen so far, we might end up in a situation where he's a really advantageous two-way player like he was showing us he was going to be last year.
If anything embodies the glass half full more than that stat you just showed us, I don't know what it is. I like the idea of the Warriors coming to Podziemski and be like, "Yo, we noticed numbers are kind of down." He's like, "Wait, hold on. Have you factored in I'm also taking terrible shots? Because, like as long as I continue to take really bad shots, it's only a matter of time before I continue to miss them. So I think we're going to be totally fine." I was talking with my uncle about this last night, and he pointed out that he broke his nose once and had to wear a mask and couldn't hit shit. Had difficulty doing normal tasks like eating breakfast, let alone shooting like an NBA three-pointer. So that's what I'm holding on to. I'm hoping once the mask comes off, the percentages go up. But I guess
I think the other thing that list showed was Caleb Martin being at number 2 is taking some terrible shots. Like, what are you doing with your career right now? You need to get off that list immediately. Those are a lot of strong names, except for Caleb Martin.
Yeah.
Where is he even? Is he in LA? Where is Caleb Martin? I don't even remember where he's playing, but I guarantee you, wherever it is, that franchise isn't Caleb, get your shots off. Like whatever the location is.
It's the Sixers, right? I think it's the Sixers.
Okay, there you go. Maybe
you're right.
After Embiid and Paul George got hurt, they're like, whatever you need to do, Caleb. You just fire it up.
Difficult shot, green light. Caleb.
Let's go. Things I don't like. I still have an unhealthy emotional attachment to this team. Look, they won the game. They ultimately pulled it out. And in fact, let's turn it into a positive thing. that Houston game is the exact kind of game the Warriors would have lost last year, and they didn't. They pulled it out, and I like that they've changed those kind of outcomes. But what I don't is how it made me feel as they gave up that 30-point fucking lead, man. I am still so emotionally tied. It's like it's an unfair, totally unhealthy thing. By the time it became clear we were going to go to an overtime, it was like I found out like my dog died or something. Like I was so pissy and like upset, man. So I need therapy for a lot of reasons, but that might be in like the first 3 or 4 sessions that it comes up. But one final you know what, gentlemen? I like beating Tari Eason. There's just something that's so satisfying about that. So last year he came on our radar with the Warriors come out and play thing. This year he came back on our radar with that Houston game. And it's not just the 27 points he put up, which was upsetting enough. It's all the bullshit theatrics, man. At one point they had a shot of, I think they were just trying to show Podziemski's face just for a second. It was like they're getting ready to throw the ball in. And Eason was guarding him. And so we saw the back of Eason's head in front of Podziemski's face. And what the shot showed for like 8 seconds was Tari Eason randomly screaming at him. Like literally just scream and then stop, and then scream and then stop. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And there was a moment where Tari hit a layup and apparently hit the floor and then laid on the floor as if someone had knocked him out for 5 seconds. It just really dislikable stuff. But afterwards was had this back and forth with a reporter that has made me endlessly happy. Here's Tari Eason after the game.
He did.
What led to that change?
Huh?
What led to?
I don't like the Warriors. I mean, I don't know. I just want to win. It's really not bigger than that.
You can pause it right there. Just in case the quote was too fast, it was, I don't like the Warriors. A couple of seconds later, I just like to win. In related news, Houston has lost 14 fucking straight to Golden State. So good luck with that, Tari. Something that probably hasn't played out the way you'd like it to over and over and over and over and over again. I was going to say over and over again 14 times, but it's too many times. I can't even fit it in. So fantastic. And fuck you, Tari Eason. That's my favorite of the glass half full.
I love that afterward, like where we pause it, he's just got this downtrodden looking down look. The whole delivery was from a place of defeat in every ounce of what he was saying and in his body language. So sorry, Tari.
Well, I also like that the person who asked him the question kind of gargled it. So there's like a 90% chance he didn't hear what the person actually asked. You know, he was like, what? And he didn't hear it again. He's like, look, I just don't like the Warriors. Like, I don't know what you're asking, but I just don't like the Warriors. It is what it is.
Yeah, when he was laying on the ground too, it wasn't because he was like doing theatrics. He was just exhausted because he hasn't played that many minutes in a row ever in his life. And he was just so tired. And Ime Udoka immediately said, get up and get down the court. They're playing, it's 5-on-4 right now. Like, what are you doing?
Some point in the second quarter, thank God this didn't happen. Some point in the second quarter, I almost tweeted out the whole like Warriors come out and play thing. And then a line underneath like, where's Tari Eason? He's not doing shit. Meanwhile, he ended up being the star of the second half and the principal reason they came screaming back. So Thank God that tweet remained in pocket, man.
I'll go and then glass half empty. Just worried about like these next set of games, probably 8 games or so, is a litmus test for us. And you know, we're 6-1, but we've played a kind of soft schedule depending on, you know, like how you view the teams. But this is just a murderer's row of games coming up. So yeah, we'll see where we're at.
We got a lot of questions that'll address that specifically. I heard some quote from Kerr recently and basically asking him that. And I don't remember how he described them. It was something like injury riddled and teams going through some challenges. But really what he said was that we've played a bunch of shitbirds. So I don't know if we're super good yet. I guess we're about to find out. We'll explore that in our golden questions. But before we do, it is Maxime's ad read. Let's see what's up, dude. I know that he already provided one last week, but I wasn't there to check it out live, so I'm excited for this one. Maxime, underdog, baby, let's go.
All right. Underdog is the place to go if you're a sports fan looking to win money while watching games. With over 5 million players and 2 billion won, Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in on all your favorite players' performances. Think Steph Curry will rack up higher than 30 points next game? That James Harden will continue to believe he's the original Luka Doncic and dish out lower than 2 assists? Cook up some entries for a shot to win real cash prizes all season long. And it's not just the NBA. Underdog has got all your favorite leagues, teams, and stars to choose from. Create entries with all basketball picks or mix and match across your other favorite sports. This season, Underdog is going to be running a special promo or bonus almost every single day, like free picks. They're basically a sure thing. A player just has to get higher than 0.5 points for that pick to win. Personally, my favorite feature is Underdog Rescues. In my fantasy league, I'm currently sweating the loss of Paolo Banchero and really wishing I could have that draft pick back. With Underdog Rescues, you can get your money back and receive a promo if an early injury like Paolo's causes your entry to lose. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use code WHP to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's code WHP to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Select higher or lower on your favorite players and cash in on Underdog. Must be 18 plus, 19 plus Alabama, Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369.
Woo! Professional shit. Look at that, man. Quick critique, though. I didn't like that the camera went right on you. I would have preferred it like floated around to different people. That would have been a little bit more professional.
I'll work on that.
Yeah, see if you can do. I like the all right to start, and I like the reference to Banchero. As long as we're talking about fantasy teams, allow me to offer a quick fuck you to Joel Embiid. I mean, if he wasn't going to play at all for the first 2 seasons, could they have told us that? I mean, like I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have taken him then. So I mean, I'll save my Embiid hardship for another podcast, but I'm a little pissy about my own fantasy prospects. 2, the golden questions, gentlemen. As you know, this is our mailbag. It always deals with the Warriors. Sometimes it gets personal, and this one does a little bit of both. And the first question jumps right in where we left off. Question: Warriors are 6-1 and second in the West. Do you view them as a title contender now? And so I'm going to break this down. Instead of just one question, I'm making it 3. All right. The first of the 3 biggest reason these guys are title contenders. We touched this a little bit with Medina last week. So I'll just reiterate what I've already said in the toss it to you boys. Biggest reason they are. I mean, any list like this starts with Steph Curry, of course. He on his own occupies a puncher's chance, and he seems to be picking up right where he left off in the Olympics. The next is the locker room vibes. It's not just, 12 dirty dozen deep. It's 12 dirty dozen people who are very happy playing with one another. And that kind of thing can carry over. Add in a championship pedigree. You've got people on this team who knows what it looks like and what it takes. Can I squint really hard and see a little bit of a championship possibility? Sure, for the purposes of this question. So that's my biggest reason I think they could be viewed as contenders. Gentlemen?
Yeah, I'll add in a couple of more. 1, two-way wigs. And not just that we're seeing two-way wigs coming out this season and playing extremely well, but also that the Warriors PR staff is telegraphing that he's interested in having another all-star campaign. That's a really good sign that he's locked in and interested in playing at the level that won us a championship. And Draymond also seems to be recommitting in a way that's really impressive. We talked already about him owning up to not having a great season mentally last season and kind of checking out. And clearly the vibes are a lot better, and his on-court performance is already better, not just from the shooting perspective, but nobody has better chemistry in the pick and roll than Steph. Even though we don't run that all that often, he's just so clearly invaluable to what we do. Buddy Hield also shooting from 3 in a way that continues to give us great floor spacing, so that when Steph is there, Podziemski shouldn't be taking really difficult shots. You're starting to see all the pieces come into place. And on the defensive end, I know I don't like to talk about defense at all and rather would prefer that we don't play on that end at all, but nonetheless, we actually have some great defenders. Once D'Anthony Melton comes back, that's going to be great for us. I think a lot of the pieces are coming into place for this to be both representative of what made the Warriors great already, like you said, Steph, Draymond, two-way Wigs, and then also some new pieces that sort of shuffle the deck a little bit and make this team not just what it used to be, but actually something special and new. And that's a pretty exciting chemistry.
We talked about maybes, like these maybes that were floating out there, where if they happened, maybe the Warriors would be a lot better. Some of them are happening. Maybe Wiggs returns early. We're 7 games in, but so far stats suggest he has. Maybe Buddy Hield was looking for the one system that would really, really catapult him. That's exactly what's going down. And I'll add to the glass half full. Another thing I like Buddy Hield blowing kisses to an obnoxious Houston crowd, even as we're losing the lead. There was something that just felt satisfying about his shit talking in the midst of a terrible storm of Houston points.
Yeah, I think I don't think we're title contenders. I think we're Western Conference title contenders. I don't think we stack up well against Boston and Cleveland from that side of the league. But just the way that the Nuggets have played. Phoenix is up there, but I think our depth gives us a puncher's chance against everybody in the West, and OKC is probably the strongest team right now. But I like our puncher's chance, and if Kerr can figure out a way to make a playoff rotation that's a little deeper than 8 players, then I think we continue that momentum. And if we just do the platoon thing where we just send out bodies and you run hard for 12 minutes and then you get subbed off or 8 minutes, and then I like our chances, but I don't think we're there yet in terms of the upper echelon. So I wouldn't go title contenders, but I do think we're one of the top contenders for the Western Conference.
We got to petition the league to change the playoff schedule. No more 4 or 5 days rest between games. It's no, we'd actually like to play maybe some back-to-backs. I don't know. Figure it out. But something we could use our depth. You kind of touched on, so transitioning. Biggest reason they are not. I've used this line before. I'll use it again. They are deep, but not necessarily talented. I expect a trade to be made somewhere before the February deadline, and I expect that trade to be for someone with a $30 million plus salary. When that happens, different analysis. As of right now, and this kind of dovetails into what Marcus was saying, I like the team, I like the depth, but I think the people at the tip top, the Oklahoma Cities of the world, are still out of our current echelon. It's just a different analysis. So we'll need an infusion of talent. There might be one coming, but if there's not, that's the biggest reason.
Yeah, I agree with you. Oklahoma City is looking not just incredible, but also when Draymond is taking shots at their post-game interviews, kind of weird shots. I feel like I could see, the 2015 version of this team doing that same sort of buddy thing. It comes from a place that feels more of jealousy than actually this is problematic for some reason. It just seems like OKC has, you were talking about nice chemistry in the locker room. I think OKC has the best chemistry, it seems like, in the whole league in terms of their locker room. It's rough. There's the talent, and I'll throw Boston into that mix too, probably. There is another tier above us. So MT, I agree with you. I don't think that we're pushing into the championship title race. It's like you said, we're deep, but not necessarily talented deep.
Instead of answering that, MT, answer this. So this also goes into what we said pre-ad read. Quote, next question. How much will the next 6 games impact your view of this team, and what's your prediction of the record? So here's the next 6. Tonight, Boston, who is 7-1. Next, the Cavs, who are 8-0. The Thunder are the final trip, or the final team on that road trip at 7-0. So the next 3 teams have a combined record of 15, 22-1. And then we come home for 3 games against the Mavs, the Grizz, and the Clips. So, MT, how much will this 6-game stretch change your view of this team's contending power?
I don't think they'll change it much. I think they'll just solidify what I'm already worried about, is that it's a little bit of fool's gold right now.
It might go the other way. I mean, where do they go? Fucking 6-0. You don't know.
Yeah. I think we go 2-4 and come back down to earth a little bit.
I'm kind of the same way. It's going to require some kind of a big swing for this really to change something. They go 0-6, you know, you got to look in the mirror a little bit. They go 6-0, you know, same thing. If it's somewhere in between, which is what I think it'll be, then I will continue this ambiguously optimistic, you know, setting. Like, I feel good, but I'm not sure. And my guess is 3-3. I think they pull one out of these next three, and then they drop one against the three teams they have at home. Maxime?
We talked about it and we decided to have distractions at the beginning of the show, but I can't help but think about that Iowa poll that, you know, had Harris in the lead, and sort of feeling like this early season run might be actually a false indicator of this team's potential, and we might see a big old smack in the face.
Oh my God.
As they face plant in the
You
next
brought up
6
the
games.
fucking election to also tell me you think the team's going to go terribly.
I'm in a bad place,
Not a
man.
distraction, man.
We're the Iowa polls. I'm thinking.
It's like, oh my God, dude, what's happening right now? This is terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. No, look, I'm also having some recency bias because the Cal football team pretty much just did the exact same thing, got our hopes up after some early season runs, and then turned out they also suck. So I'm just feeling like my fandom in general is
Like,
perpetually
This next 6-game
about.
stretch is going to go like the Holocaust. It just really makes me think of that. I mean, are we just trying to come up with all the terrible things to talk and think about right now, or what?
I'm just telling you where my brain is going. But look, this is a ridiculously difficult run of games. And you're asking me to make a bet, I'm saying we go 1-5.
That segment, by the way, we didn't get a chance to do the ad read, is by suicideprevention.com. I mean, if you're feeling shitty, call them up. They might be able to help you through. It is what it is. Hope that Maxime doesn't pick up, though, because you're fucked if he does.
That's right.
It'll be a series of
Code
things.
Iowa straw poll for
Yeah, it's like, yeah. You know what this makes me think of? All the saddest things that are currently on my mind. Let's go through them one by one. Let's go to a question that is hopefully more fun. I don't know. We'll see what Maxime does with it. We'll find out in a second. Quote, gentlemen, should these players get a statue? And if so, what pose should they be in? Right. And then they've given us 4 possibilities. So again, the answer is, do you think, if it was up to you, if Lacob came and said, I like this whole statue movement, I think we can do better than what happened with D Wade, we're going to put up as many as you think are appropriate. He gives you the players. And if you say yes, you then also decide what should the player be doing in the statue. Let's start with an easy one. Steph Curry, gentlemen. Should Steph Curry get a statue in front of Chase? This is a foregone conclusion. Of course he should, and he will. Probably the guy who's going to get the next statue, if I had to guess. What should it be doing? A lot of options here. A lot of options. There's the scream he did after he set the overall record in Madison Square Garden, where he's got both hands down and he's screaming real loud. It's a picture I use on Twitter all the time. There's the night, you know, now we're going up. That'd be my second choice. Take it from anywhere. You know, you can have the one in Paris, have it Boston, wherever the hell it is. But the one I think it should be is the finger point. I love that fucking picture, and I love what it signifies. It was the title that might be my favorite. It happened against a crowd who I cannot stand. And it not only illustrates his dominance, right? Because that game 4, you know, or game 6, that's when he really pulled it out, but also illustrates that he's secretly this shit talking competitive monster, you know, that like we view him as a baby face, but really he will eat your heart if that's what it requires to win. So that's my pick and my pose.
I like it. I mean, obviously foregone conclusion, he will get a statue. I'm just worried about the pose. I think whatever pose, I like the ring point or the finger pointing in night. Just based on D Wade's statue, how it turned out, I think we should choose whatever the simplest pose is that they cannot mess up, because otherwise it will not look like Steph Curry and it'll just be a repeat of that. So
with the body they get,
point is easy to pull off. Talk to the sculpture guy or woman and let us know. But pick whatever one you can actually make look like Steph, and that's the one I recommend.
The whatever one they can give you like 8 mock-ups. Like they show me a bunch of, like they make it in styrofoam, then they make it in like some kind of like malleable actor, and then okay, now we're ready for the bronze. Like I've seen it, you've got my okay. Don't fuck up this next part.
Exactly.
So I think we're all in agreement on the main poses. You know, it might be nice to have him just in a classic sort of 3-point shootout. But I feel like if we're going to have a conversation about Clay getting a statue, it makes more sense for the person with the immaculate form. But we're going to get there in a second. My only question is not should he get a statue, but should he get more than one statue? I could see a world where we have an unveiling shortly after retirement, and then maybe a while later, right? Maybe like a legacy statue is the Night. Right. And so, because I mean, that's so iconic now and transcends just Warriors basketball. So it's the type of thing, like I'm not trying to, well, I am trying to, I think for the legacy that he's provided for Golden State, he is a singular figure, unlike any other team has really had. Cause I was thinking of Kobe, but they've also had Magic and Shaq. And so Kobe's had multiple statues there. And of course there's special history with him passing away in the helicopter accident. But I think Steph is a candidate for having multiple statues sort of in different locations that represent different characteristics of his career and really what he means to this franchise.
I think the way that the multiple statue for Steph thing would work isn't multiple individual statues. I don't think Lacob will do that. And I don't think Steph would want it, but it might be in the form of one individual statue and then a group statue. You know, we're about to talk about Clay and Draymond here, but I wouldn't shock me if they had one that had all three. Maybe that image of them up on the podium after they've won the fourth, and you know, we have them all in that way. Also, would be a way to fold in Clay and Draymond without actually giving them their own. If you were MT, you were like Steph, so it's you, but you have put together a Hall of Fame career that unmistakably deserves a statue. But you put together that Hall of Fame career alongside two other Hall of Famers who may or may not get a statue. You know, in that circumstance, they came up to you, no one would ever find out. And the statue maker is like, yo, it could be one just you, or one and you and these other two people who you kind of built this dynasty with. Which direction do you go?
I mean, if I'm Steph, I'm gonna go group statue. Like it's Steph, he's gonna do the group for sure. I think he also says like, and you need to add in Iguodala, you know, and like so. I go group statue, and yeah, I probably do the night pose in the group.
Maxime, how about it was just you? If like, you know, you've done this, your accomplishments, it's up to you. Would you go in the group setting or would you want an individual?
I mean, if nobody has to find out, yeah, I'm going individual. Come on, like you get all the shine. However, I think that a key component of what makes Steph, and this is kind of to MT's point, but also from a legacy perspective, I might want people to always remember me as the type of dude that galvanized the locker room and was a real team player. And when all these other guys were trying to get their individual shine, I made it work by working with the team. So I could see how it actually might celebrate Steph more to have that group statue. But I mean, come on, you got to get your shine when you can.
I'd split the difference in the most self-serving way possible. So yeah, I'd go like group statue. And then during the unveiling, I would announce to everyone I actually asked to be part of a group statue. It's weird that you put me in an individual one. And then if I could somehow have something engraved on my individual statue, it'd have a little asterisk to be like, and Bram requested that it be group. But we decided that his accomplishments were too good. We couldn't do that. And then everyone would pass like, oh, what a magnanimous guy that dude was. I'd be like, fucking perfect. To our next guy, Draymond. Does Draymond Green deserve a statue? And if so, what should the pose be?
Yeah, I think he does. I mean, you sort of stole my take a little bit because I think I lean towards ultimately Steph individual and then a group with Draymond and Clay. But you know, Draymond's not finished with his story here, right? If a fifth ring does come, I mean, that changes the calculation again. And I would say, you know, there's either one of him with his arms down, sort of just screaming at the crowd, or the flex would be sort of my two pitches.
MJ?
Yeah, he's definitely getting one and deserves one. I don't think his guns are big enough to do the flex to make it look like
you can make them as big as you want, man. That's fine.
Yeah, but then
I don't know.
Like, is that really you? So I do think they do the screaming pose, like after he blocks a shot and he's screaming. But that makes me even more nervous of them getting it right and wrong because that can go a lot of different ways in the wrong way. So hopefully they do the flex pose and yeah, he deserves it.
I'm updating my previous answer. In my individual statue that I've secretly forced them to do, I also want to have enormous arms. I want them to just like unbelievably enormous arms.
True to scale, enormous arms.
Yeah, of course. It actually that it says there too. There's a second asterisk that says to scale. That's exactly what it says. Okay, for Draymond, does he deserve a statue? Of course he does. Of course he does. It's a ridiculous question. I've had this argument with other people. Somebody told me, no, he doesn't. And it's because he cost Steph his 5th title. Newsflash to that guy, Steph wouldn't have 4 without Draymond. We were the league's bitch forever. We didn't just lose. Teams came in and pushed us around. The reason that changed was Draymond Green. I'll put it a different way. Steph changed the offensive culture of the NBA. Draymond changed the defensive culture of the NBA. This was not a positionless defensive league. That wasn't a thing. And then Draymond's versatility allowed the Warriors to do it, and everybody copied it. So, of course, he gets a fucking statue. What should it be of? I wouldn't mind if it was him choking out Gobert. That'd be pretty dope. Maybe make the Gobert face like totally blank so you can't tell who it is. I like that. If that causes some controversy, yeah, I go with the arms. Although we took to Twitter and got a bunch of suggestions, and the one that caught my eye for Draymond is they wanted him doing the review sign, the circle with his finger, which I don't know if you'd have to like animate it or something, but I like that idea a lot. Klay Thompson, does he deserve a statue? I mean, of course, man. Pissiness aside, yes. If it was up to me, it might be a group statue. He may have sacrificed the individual statue by sacrificing a full career here. But will he get one? Yeah. Joke pose, him signing the toaster. Real pose, just shooting a jump shot. Not one specific. Maybe if you can pull one from his from the 37-point quarter, but just the image of his quote unquote picture perfect jump shot.
Yeah, absolutely deserves one. Like, he's part of arguably the best shooting backcourt in the history of the game. So you get a statue twice over for that, regardless if you stayed with us. But I think because he left, it has to be a group statue. He doesn't get his own. He has to be with the group now. Like, you gave up your right to have your individual statue when you went to the Mavs.
It almost makes me want to have like a full role player statue, Iguodala, D West, Sean Livingston, and then we put Klay Thompson in there. He's a little bit bigger than everybody else, like we acknowledge it, like he's in the front of it, but a nice little wink, wink, fuck you via statue.
Exactly.
So I agree. The only way that I would give him an individual statue, and I'm not trying to, we definitely give him the group. I think that's without question. And then I would give him a second individual statue. And I'm really not trying to relegate him. I think this would be kind of sick. You put it in the bay with him with his perfect shooting form, maybe like in a little boat or whatever, right? Because he shoots from deep. It could be kind of a funny little cheeky nod. So just putting that out there.
Who said I'm not trying to relegate him? And you put his shit in the ocean, dude, in the bay. Who the fuck is going to see that statue? Like, when are people going to, like, at any point, it's like, what the hell is that? Is that a Klay Thompson in a boat statue? Like, what's going on, dude?
Whoa. We did not relegate you. But if you divert your attention over there, 2 miles off.
We didn't relegate
you. Put an asterisk on it, not relegate.
Here's the geographical coordinates for you to go find it. Here's a latitude and longitude. It's going to take a little while. You're going to need multiple forms of transportation, but I promise you, it's glorious. It's hella big. It's only you. It's so dope, dude. Really enjoy that. Last one. Don't give me pose. Just yes or no. Kevin Durant. Does he deserve a statue anywhere? You can put it anywhere you want. I mean, if we can use Maxime's idea, sure, dude. I'm not going to relegate him. I'll put him somewhere in the Sahara. It's hella nice. Pretty big. Maybe solid gold. I don't know, but like definite statue.
Yeah, it's just so tough. I mean, you said just yes or no. I'm going to go lowercase yes.
Here?
Size 8 font.
Well, then give me where? Here? Golden State?
Yeah, Golden State.
Maxime?
Yeah. Yes. No, I mean, I think, he won us 2 titles. I think he deserves it.
And individual or group.
No, part of the group. Look, if we're at the point where we're giving him an individual statue, that means absolutely Draymond and Claire are also getting individual statues because he is sort of fourth here. And then it's starting to kind of cheapen the whole statue thing. So I think we have one group for them, but I wouldn't go beyond that.
We should put him in like a statue, like he's real big, and then just have a random ass player in there for no reason. It's like him and like Quinn Cook. It's just like, oh, weird. You know, like, they don't even name Quinn. You're just like, you're slightly distracted. You know, Katie doesn't get all of the
Jabbarka playing in the Bay with Clay.
He's so good though. Maybe all of them. Nicholas Sikavili can be in that fucking one too. All right, to our final segment, one I'm excited for. It has distraction written all over it. To the look around the league, where Marcus has tracked down 3 stories. So give us all 3. Then we vote on which one we will actually discuss. MT?
Cool. And just to put a button on that last segment, Lakeup already confirmed a few years ago that Clay, Steph, Dre, and Iguodala are getting statues, right? So
did he? Yeah, I didn't know that about Iggy. Okay.
We'll see if that comes true, if KD jumps in the mix. But the 3 stories, here we go. Look around the league. First one, Joel Embiid's suspension. So Joel Embiid was suspended for 3 games without pay for shoving a local newspaper columnist. So we could talk about that and maybe decide if Draymond was to shove a reporter, which friend of the pod would he shove first? Number 2 story, Greg Popovich had a health scare. Unfortunately, had to leave a game against the Timberwolves and is going to miss an indefinite amount of time. Kind of taps into retirement. We always think about it from the player standpoint, but Pop is a legendary coach, and we could talk about how retirement and this cycle of the new wave of coaches and the old guard kind of going out too, with Doc Rivers and a few others. And then the last story, Giannis apparently is frustrated with the Bucks' performance. They're 1-4, and he's not happy about it. He doesn't want to spend his final prime years on a team like that. What does that mean for other teams out there, including the Warriors?
Like all 3 of these, I'm going to go backwards. Giannis obviously entertains me, but I don't think it's Golden State who acquires him. I think it's OKC, which makes me very frustrated and very concerned. So I don't necessarily want to look at that too closely. Popovich makes me feel weird about my own mortality, and I'm already kind of fucked up on that, which leads me to the Embiid story, and that one actually really does speak to me. So my vote is firmly Joel Embiid.
Surprising no one that would be the one that you would pick. MT, this is an all-timer. I feel like all 3 of these stories are super fascinating. I'll go with Embiid as well, but I just want to say, because everybody's talking about the OKC Giannis thing, I don't think OKC wants to. I don't think that they would trade for Giannis. Obviously they could. Obviously they have an absurd amount of assets, but I think top to bottom in that roster, like we talked about earlier, they don't want to mess with success. I think they believe they can win it right now. Why would they mess that up?
You're inviting me to talk about the OKC Giannis thing, and I do have a take on that, but I'm not going to give it because we're talking about Embiid. So the way I understand the story, a little bit of background, Embiid has yet to play, has gotten a ton of both national and local criticism, and as part of the local criticism, a very long-time writer, a beat writer for the Philadelphia 76ers, wrote a critical article about Embiid that talked about Embiid's dead brother and his son, who share a name, and essentially said that Embiid not playing was embarrassing to the memory of his brother and embarrassing to his son, to which Embiid got upset, supposedly cornered the guy in the locker room, talked to him about it, said that if you ever do that again, I'll just have to accept the consequences of what I do, and then quote unquote shoved him. And per Ramona Shelburne, if I remember right, she then clarified that the shove was to the shoulder. So I don't know if what she was distinguishing is like it wasn't like a 2-handed shove to his chest kind of thing. I don't know, but that's the way I understand the story. Here's my first follow-up, boys. Does it matter what the reporter wrote about? Like if you were the NBA and you're looking at this and you know for sure there's physical contact by by Joel Embiid against the reporter, would you also look at what the reporter said in the story? Like, is that a thing, you know, or is it just strict liability? Thou shalt not touch the press. So it doesn't matter what the hell the press did to get touched.
Does it matter in terms of whether he gets a suspension or not?
Yes.
100% it does not. No. That is something we can't have that precedent set. Joel Embiid absolutely needed to be, he has been suspended as a result of this. Like, you can't cross that line. It doesn't matter. This was an unacceptable thing that he said. And right, what he said is, the quote is, Joel Embiid consistently points to the birth of his son Arthur as the major inflection point in his basketball career. He often says that he wants to be great to leave a legacy for the boy named after his little brother, who tragically died in an automobile accident when Embiid was in his first year as a 76er. Well, in order to be great at your job, you first have to show up for work. Woof. Like, that crossed a line in a way that is completely unacceptable. And it's also completely unacceptable to push the guy. And it puts them in an awkward position because they probably should pull his credential for something like this, but they should have never let him in the locker room in the first place. The fact that he pushed a media member, you take away all of the context, you push a media member, there has to be consequences for that.
First, credit to you. I like how you threw that quote up there. I fought it off for 45 seconds, didn't read it, and they're like, fuck you, I'm going to read it. And we got it. There it is. We got that full quote in there. Yeah, that's nicely done. I feel like you just pushed me in the locker room, you piece of shit. MT, what do you think?
I'm the other side with it. I think I agree. There has to be some type of, like line that you cannot cross between the players and the media, especially because the media coverage is what gives so much value to the league. So I get that from that standpoint. But if the reporter crossed that line in that way, like, you're not reporting on, his performance on the floor or doing anything that's critical of Joel Embiid. You're making a personal attack about family members. And then at that, like a child, which is innocent, and then a family member who's passed away tragically. Like, if you wouldn't say that, would you say that, like out on the street if you weren't protected by your media credential? If the answer is no, then why should you be protected because you're a reporter? Like, if you wouldn't say that to a 7 foot, 300-pound dude, out in a bar, then don't hide behind your credential. So I think I split the difference. I don't think he should have pushed him, but I do think the NBA factored that in, and that's why it was only 3 games.
I think that there are 2 punishments that are deserved here. And I'm hedging more towards Maxim's side. Is it okay for that reporter to have done that? No, dude. No, it's not. You've crossed over a lot of lines, and whether or not there is a official punishment for the writer, whether or not he gets their credentials pulled or the 76ers limit what his access is to the team, will there be professional consequences? 100% yes. We know now enough from behind the scenes that if you piss these guys off, they're not going to fucking talk to you, and he's going to lose a ass ton of access, even if it's not official. And he deserves it. You can't cross this line without repercussions. That's what you get. The unfortunate reality of the situation is Embiid also crossed a line, and most likely will be facing some kind of circumstances for it. Even in that bar setting, MT, although I agree with you, if MT talked hella shit, if somebody talked hella shit to Embiid and Embiid attacked him, the guy, he got attacked. He got what was coming to him in that bar, and Embiid would face criminal, possibilities. Doesn't matter what you said, you cannot touch. And and there he did. But I think we're seeing that the NBA is kind of splitting the difference, because part of the story is what the reporter wrote. Like, if all they wanted to talk about was like, look, dude, Embiid, who has been really missing this entire year, finally showed up by pushing a reporter. That's one thing. It's another thing to say you pushed him, but look at this story. Look at the hell this guy's writing about. So I think they're both justified, which leads to the second follow-up, which you suggested, and I love. Of our guests, who's most likely to get shoved by an NBA player? And so, caveat, none of them. They all care. They're all way locked in, the whole 9 yards. With that caveat, I've got to guess Connor Letourneau. That motherfucker loves the follow-up. There's nobody I know who likes a follow-up more, whether or not it's always super appropriate. So in an NBA locker room, would he do this? No, he wouldn't. He's good at his job and wouldn't press it. But does he have the personality type to maybe stumble across a shove-worthy question? Perhaps. So yeah, I'm going Connor here.
Nice. I'm gonna go Wes, not because he's bad at his job. It's the opposite. I don't think Wes would ever cross the line and do anything near what that Philly reporter did. But I think because he's such a Heat fan that at some point, whoever's a really upset Golden State Warrior fan, and if we lose a Heat game, I could just see them taking it out on Wes unjustifiably.
And Wes is quick enough on his feet where I can see him having 3 or 4 rapid succession jokes, whereas the third and fourth one, they're the guy's nope, fuck this, I'm done, and then out comes the shove.
Exactly.
But it's basically already happened to Connor in that KD essentially cornered him, right? It wasn't a full shove, but that's about as close to an altercation as we've heard. And I do think, look, and to be clear, Connor is not the type of person. He's a good writer. He's a smart writer. He's not going to do something as stupid as this guy Hayes did, putting something in there. But Connor's also not a hot take artist. And I think that's the key difference here is this guy actually might gain viewership or followers based on this move, right? He's essentially getting his name out there. It's that Kanye West, at least people are talking about me kind of thing. Whereas I think we know for a fact, Connor prides himself on being a great storyteller, and that requires access to these people. So their intentions are completely different. And I don't think we have anybody on our show that is gunning to be a hot take artist outside of maybe us. So, but in terms of the guests, who knows? I don't think so.
Did you just give us a non-answer? It feels like you didn't actually throw anybody out there. Yeah, okay, Connor. All right, we ended up with Connor.
What are you talking about?
Here's a hot take. Clay's statue is in the bay right now.
Look, he sails boats. The whole point of this is because it's the boat thing. When you said KD in the Sahara, that makes no fucking sense. There's context to the bay one.
Bullshit, it doesn't. You said we're not going to relegate him and then put his fucking statue 80 miles away from the Chase Center, dude.
He takes the boat to Chase Center when he was here. He's probably going to take it here with Luka.
You relegate a team, you take them out of a league and you put them over here. When you're relegating a statue, you take it out of the arena and you put it in the bay.
No, the bay is absolutely a part of Chase Center. There's a reason that it was put right there on the bay. The bay is a part of the vibe.
We use the phrase "a part of" totally differently.
At least the statue is right next to Quinn Cook's statue. So
it's just,
he should be honored.
It's just right there. We're gonna invite Maxime and his wife over to dinner, but we're gonna ask them to eat 3 cities over. But it's not. You haven't been relegated, dude. It's fine. You're still part of the dinner. We really like having you here. It's good. It's good.
It makes no sense.
I should use
your chair in Hayward right now.
Yeah, I could fire off 100 of these in a row. I feel like there's a lot of analogies that we'll use, but we won't go into any of them because we got to get to the Boston Celtics game. Gentlemen, give me a prediction. The people who are listening to this already know its outcomes. So we'll either be immediately right or immediately wrong. The Warriors are 6-point underdogs tonight. Which way would you bet?
In Boston, I think we lose, but I think it's close.
Within the 6?
I don't think we get blown out, and I think it's too much pressure on Tatum to have a great game for him to have a great game.
I hope that's true.
I hope he ends up just having a mid kind of game, but Boston's just playing really well right now, and they're. The last time we were there, we got spanked by 58 or however, whatever it was. So
55. I take the Warriors money line. Not even the points. I think we pussed it out tonight. The plus 195. I think I read somewhere that Jaylen Brown isn't playing. That always helps. So I take the Warriors.
Look, we lost by whatever it was, 52, something like that, in the previous game. But the one before that was an overtime win. So there is precedent, right? If we don't just look at the immediate future, or the immediate past, I should say. But I'm taking the under. I don't think that we cover the spread here. I think Boston at home kind of takes it out on us.
We'll see what happens with that in mind. We've had a ton of improvements to our YouTube channel. I know I've been pimping that a lot, but we'd love you to come check it out and subscribe, please. I haven't dropped this for a while. You want to get us a question, have us get an issue that you think we should discuss, let us know we did a good job, bad job, any job. You can shoot us an email to
huddle@warriorshuddle.com.
Thought that was going to be statuesofthebay.com. With that in mind, go Warriors. Hopefully, see you real soon.